with this. In verse 23, and that he might make known the rich, now here it comes right here, that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. Now Paul's saying, listen, don't question God. He had a plan, and you said this 3 or 4 times tonight. He had a plan from the beginning, and he's chosen the pattern in which he's going to have these vessels that's going to honor him. And that pattern's going to come forth. It's going to be done. The plan of salvation God had from the beginning. And it's going to play out exactly like God intended it to play out. So why on earth would you or me think that just because we don't like the way it goes, we can question God and say, well, God, do it another way? It's basically what he's saying, ain't it?
Don't you think that the Israelites that were enslaved for 400 years was asking God, why?
Why
are we here? Why have you stuck us here? Why have you left us here for 400 years?
Yes.
Why have you done this to us? God, please, get us out. You know, all this was set in motion, and I believe for one purpose. For one purpose. And old Pharaoh, he was sitting up on his throne, and God used him like a puppet. He hardened his heart several times. Now, if I read that right, old Pharaoh was going to allow them to leave earlier.
Right, he was.
Okay.
And God hardened his heart.
Now, that's pretty interesting when you read that, because you got to go, well, why would God harden his heart? There's a big picture purpose for all this, and that is to show the world the might and the power of the living God.
Right, and what happens when you come again,
humanity for 400 years. That foreshadow of that next 400 silent years.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
All right, so here they are. They don't have a clue what's going on here. And so,
no clue.
And so it's like that clay looking up at the potter and going, why did you put me here, God?
Why?
Okay, that's ridiculous. God's got a plan. Now, it's very human to do that and see that way, and that's why Paul's talking about it here. That's the human...
To get us to see...
That's the human element involved here.
Yes.
But the whole plan, the reason for that 400 years of slavery, the reason for Pharaoh in his situation, was all to prove to the world, without a shadow of a doubt, how powerful and how mighty God is.
Yes, and what better type and shadow than, like you said, after going through 400 years...
Do you think it's a... Yeah, I'm sorry. No. Do you think it's a coincidence that they run into the Red Sea? Do you think it's a coincidence that here Moses he finds himself here at the Red Sea? I don't have any doubt that Moses didn't know where he was going. He was just going.
Yeah. You know, well, he was following.
He was following. You know, he didn't have any knowledge of his own.
Absolutely not.
So he finds himself at this Red Sea, and he looks at a picture that's just bleak.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, Lord, have mercy."
Now
everybody back here is going, "Hey, what did you do? Bring us out here to die?"
Yep.
Well, we've been better off back there as slaves than out here dying. And
absolutely.
So Moses
and God, what do you remember what God told Moses when Moses went to God about the Red Sea and all that?
Say it.
Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord.
I was going to say that, but I thought, man, I might be wrong about that, so I better keep my mouth shut. But you're exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Well, and you know, don't you think on the spiritual sense, after, like you said, the 400 years of slavery, 400 years without God, then we've got the 400 dark years between Malachi and Matthew. God sent a deliverer through Egypt, which is a type and shadow of bondage and sin.
Absolutely.
The deliverer there. Don't you think that when Jesus was hanging on that cross, that's what he was telling everybody? Stand still and see the salvation of my God.
Absolutely. I think that's what he was saying to the spirits in prison.
Absolutely. You know he was. You know he was. I mean, all the imps of hell was thinking, and you mentioned it a while ago, they were thinking, boy, we got him. We got him. Is he really going to die? The one thing that we have had the ability to control that has overpowered everybody, man, is he really going to be able, we're going to be able to get him in the grasp of this death. And the whole time he's looking at the imps, the pharaohs, and he's saying, stand still.
Yes.
And see the salvation of my God.
Yeah.
Man, that's so powerful.
Oh, it is powerful. And all those plagues was to announce to the world.
Absolutely.
Look how great this God is. But now when it come to the Red Sea, it was more about announcing to the Israelites just what a God you're getting ready to serve.
Yes.
This
Nothing can stop him.
This insurmountable mountain that's in front of you, which is the sea. This is your death. This is your sarcophagus here, right?
Right. Or a type and shadow of the resurrection.
God turns this into victory. And so it announces to these Israelites, and it should solidify them to the point that they would walk through anything for their God.
Yes.
But then we see.
And in my mind, and I'm maybe off on this, but I see that as a type and shadow of the resurrection. Here's the enemy back here. Man, I see them. They're there. They're stuck. There's no way they can go anywhere. Right. And the imps of hell said the same thing when Jesus died.
Absolutely.
But then all of a sudden, God parts the sea. And all of a sudden, and I've heard this said so many times, and it makes so much sense. The angels did not roll the stone away to let Jesus out. He was already out. They rolled that stone away to let the people in and see.
I never thought about that.
God didn't have to part the Red Sea for the children of Israel to make it through. He could have caused lightning to fall and kill all of the army. But he wanted everybody to see and know, I am God.
Man, that's good.
Watch me part this sea right here and show you that all hell cannot stop the progress that I'm about to make. I
never thought about it that way.
And the same thing.
Really good.
And the same thing with Christ in that tomb. Yeah. Let me roll that stone out of the way so all hell and all the world can see inside to show you. Now I've got keys and the power over death, hell, and the grave. The only thing that the imps of hell ever had in their corner.
Hey, man, I'm not even going to do AI this time.
Man, there's just some power in that.
That is.
Yes.
That is. I got one question.
All right.
What's an imp?
Well, they're just one of them little demons that runs around behind the devil, and
all right. I must have missed that somewhere.
It's not in here. That's just one of my names I give it, and I use short ones because I'm simple-minded.
All right, good deal.
All right, you got something else?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna read verse 23 again to make verse 24. Makes sense. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us, whom he hath called. Whoa, wait a minute. Not of the Jew only, but also of the Gentile.
So he's called the Gentiles.
Just as he did the Jews. Now, and if I'm understanding this right, down through here, he's talking about this plan, how that the potter has got power over the clay, how that, let's see, he can make one vessel to honor and one to dishonor. And then all of a sudden, just like that, he drops in the Jews and the Gentiles in the same basket. Do you think that's just a coincidence?
No, I do not.
I don't either. I think he's trying to get us to see and understand God is God, and however God decides to level the playing field, it's God. There's nothing you or me or anybody else can do or say to God, again God, about God. And I know you've saw this with and it just has run through my mind 1,000 times tonight thinking about some of these verses. But Kent Hovind and the video on YouTube with him and the 3 atheist professors, and the one looked at him and says, well, where does God come from? And we know the response. He said, well, the God you're talking about is not really a God, because my God is not affected by time, space, or matter.
Yeah.
And when you think about that in the light of what he's saying here, what on earth, if God cut everybody in this world off, does that mean he's going to just walk off behind a shade tree somewhere off in the wilderness and go, well, I probably overreacted on that one? Absolutely not. I mean, this God had foreknowledge before he ever created the world about the end of it. Where on earth do I stand right to tell him, well, God, why did you choose this pattern? And I think that's what Paul's saying there. He's saying he's God.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
And that's what he's leading up to all the way through here is,
Yes.
who he's called, the Jews, not only the Jews, but the Gentiles. And he's using
Yes.
all this to prove that in God's infinite wisdom and his foreknowledge.
Right.
How all this works,
Right.
the mechanism of this.
Yes. Just like you mentioned with Pharaoh. I mean, God has mercy on whom God will have mercy, and it's not mine and your place to say he's righteous or unrighteous
That's right.
by the way he chooses to
That's
do
right.
that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And he's telling the Jews this for a reason.
He's telling them this for a reason,
He's
yes.
saying, this is righteous.
This is righteous because it's done by God.
No matter what you think about it, this is righteous.
This is
that's
righteous.
the whole point here.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what he's trying to drive home to. And that's why he just keeps going over and over all these different analogies and scenarios.
Right.
Is he's wanting them to see it doesn't matter how you spin this. You have no right to tell God this is unfair or this is not the right way to do this.
Yep.
All right, you got something else?
No.
As he saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. Now, brother, I'm going to ask you a kind of silly question. What is he talking about right there?
He's making a reference in Hosea. That's his way of saying Hosea, O-C.
Right.
Chapter 2, which pretty much paints that same picture right there.
That I will call them a people that is not a people. He's actually...
And if you'll read into that story, you'll find that exactly that same scenario there.
Right. And it's just like when God, and it's one of the prophets, and I mentioned this, I think, here on the podcast, or maybe out here in one of our Friday night Bible studies, or Saturday night Bible studies now. But one of the prophets, when God was establishing this image, he spoke through one of the prophets, and this is just my way and my words. This is not verbatim, or I'm not quoting from the Bible, but this is what the prophet, God was telling the prophet. He said, you rest assured, from the beginning I intended to spread my image over this earth, and you go back and you tell the children of Israel that they can do what they want, how they want, but there will come a time when I will put my laws in the heart of men, and I will spread my image over this earth. This is what he's talking about right here.
That's exactly right.
I mean, he went through every bit of this to try to get us to the place that Paul did now, that he can tell us that, listen, every bit of this was written in the law. We did not understand it, or through the prophets. We did not understand it. So I'm going to bring this to fruition for you. I'm going to let you see exactly what all this stuff back through here, and like you said, in Hosea, in the way that Paul writes it here is OC, but yes.
And 26 is just actually, when it says, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God. That is actually a quotation from chapter 2 of Hosea. I'm not sure what verse that is, but
right. So, and that's what Paul's doing. He's trying to say, get them to see, right.
Even from the prophets.
Right, even from the prophets. They prophesied about this time, and I'm trying to explain to you exactly what they were saying.
That being the foreshadowing of things to come.
Exactly, right. So, verse 27, same thing. Now, just like he done with the vessels of honor, and over here about the lineage, and how he went over it through Isaac, through Jacob, and Esau, and all of this, and he just kept going over it and over it. He's doing the same thing right here about the people that was not a people, and how God was going to choose, and that's why that he came down through here saying, what are you going to say again, God? I mean, God can choose a people that's not a people because he's God.
That's right.
In verse 27, Isaiah, this is the second time he's saying the same thing he did in 25 and 26. Isaiah also cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. Now, again, and he's saying, and you've mentioned this 2 or 3 times, he's saying the same things over again. He's saying that out of all of these children that's of this seed, of this lineage, there's only going to be a remnant that is actually going to come through the process, or through this seed, which is Christ, through Abraham, by faith. He's saying, there's a great number. He said, Isaiah cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved.
All right, so if we look at that in light of all Israel shall be saved, is that not contradictory if we take that to be?
Well, absolutely, it's contradictory.
It's contradictory if we take that to mean the nation of Israel is going to be
Right,
saved.
because a remnant is a very small amount.
This is what he's saying here. He said, if the children of the Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved.
Just a small number,
Which lends right back to, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel.
right? And that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
So now we'll ask the question again, and then we'll move on for the sake of time. But we'll ask the question again. So if all Israel is going to be saved, I think now we've determined that Israel is not necessarily that seed that came through Isaac and Jacob,
Which would be an ethnicity.
which would be,
Yeah.
yes, and so that's what, again, and you made a very good point. If what he's writing right here is so, then if all of Israel will be saved, then Isaiah is a false prophet, because
That's exactly right.
I mean, is that not what
That's
it's saying?
exactly right.
I mean, he said, though Israel, and he prophesied this. He said, though Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant would be saved.
Mm-hmm.
So if all Israel's going to be saved, then Isaiah is a false prophet
That's
by
exactly
saying,
right. He just said right here that all Israel is not going to be saved. It's going to be that remnant.
it's going to be that remnant. So if all Israel, then he's a false prophet.
Exactly.
And he's not a false prophet.
See, all Israel comes down to who is Israel. That's what it comes down to.
That's
Who
the
is
question you have to
Israel?
keep asking
And
yourself.
if we relegate that to a nation, we've missed we've missed 2 chapters entirely.
Every single bit of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and
We've missed way more than that because it's all over the
right.
Bible. We got it
Absolutely.
in Galatians. We got it in Peter. We've got it.
Oh yeah, it's in Ephesians. It's in.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere through the. Well, and you know, didn't Paul write back over here just a few chapters back, and say he is a Jew that is one inwardly and not outwardly.
Chapter 2.
So
Chapter 2.
that actually
Verse
kind of
29.
that actually kind of makes this over here make a little more sense, and sort of sheds a little light on the fact that maybe Isaiah is not really a false prophet, then, is he?
But he is a Jew which is one inwardly,
And that
and
circumcision.
is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God.
Well, I think Paul told us right there exactly who Israel
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
And he's letting us know right here.
He's
There's a
laying out the
remnant
case.
Exactly.
Continually laying out the case.
over and over and over.
You thick-headed Israelite, listen.
Listen to me.
what he's saying.
I'm trying to get you to see that if you come, you can be a part of this, but you're going to have to come not through who you are, but through the man that came through your lineage by faith, which is Christ.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And got something else to say?
No, I was just going to bring up one thing here. Over here somewhere he says, and we've been through it, he's talking, yeah, all right. In chapter 7, he begins chapter 7, he says, for I speak to them that know the law. And that's a continual thought all the way through here. I know we've been different chapters,
Yes.
but this is a continual thought
Yes.
right on all the way.
And
where
he
we are
actually
now.
is going
So
to
he's
follow this
continuing to
all the
talk.
way. Yes. And he
He's
follows
talking
it
to
all
the
the way
Jews.
through. All the way through Romans.
He's talking to the Jews here,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely. And he follows this all the way through.
So he feels like they have a need to know who the Jews are.
Yes, and he's mentioned it several, and going to mention it several more times.
Yeah.
And we'll get on into that now. Verse 28, and then I've got a little something to mention on this, and then I'm going to throw this verse in your lap too. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. Now, I have heard this about these 70 weeks in Daniel, and I've heard several, very well educated individuals mention this 69 weeks was fulfilled, and the 70th week wasn't, and a week meant similar to 1,000 years. So therefore, this 1,000-year reign is inevitable because Jesus did not finish the 70 weeks here. But Paul said he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. Now, and I'm going to tell you what I feel like Paul's saying here. Paul's saying he's trying to let them know that God started this plan from the beginning to go this direction. Jesus Christ came, he done. That's why on the cross, Jesus said, it is finished. Now, if there has to be another 1,000 years for this plan to be complete, what was Jesus talking about when he looked up and said, Father, it is finished. Into thine hands I commend my spirit.
Well, he might have been delusional. He'd lost a lot of blood.
He had lost a lot of blood. You're right.
Come on, man. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
And
It's finished.
yes.
It was finished.
And well, and to me, that, the statement that you made, of course, and I know was out of sarcasm, but it's just as silly as you made it sound to say that. Because, here's the thing. The Bible said there was not even guile, and I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but that guile that the Bible talks about, and it says there was no guile found in his mouth.
Yeah.
That means there was not even the slightest sign of even deceit. Now, and I tell you what I'm talking about, and I've actually done this one time, and got caught at it, and I got in a lot of trouble with my wife. But, of course, I had a pickup truck, and I had done a bunch of stuff to it, I mean, spent a fortune in this truck. And went and put a new clutch in it because the old clutch was slipping. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to put a clutch in it. I said, the old one is slipping. And I neglected to tell my wife that the reason the old one was slipping was because I had spent a fortune,
Engine upgrade.
Yeah. And so I put a new clutch in it, and of course I went the cheap route and got a cheaper clutch rather than the one that I should have got. Put it in it, didn't drive that truck a mile down the road, crammed down in the throttle, man, and here that other clutch went slipping. So naturally, me being the genius that I am, thought, well, I'm going to have to save up, a few $100s and go get another one and put in it. So, when I did, I neglected, so there was guile. What I'm getting at is there was guile. I didn't lie to my wife and say, well, honey, I just tore that, brand new $500 clutch out, so now I'm going to go buy a $600 clutch and put in it. But that's the guile. There was no guile. There was nothing in his mouth except truth.
Yeah.
So how on earth could he stand hanging on that cross from that perspective and say it is finished if there was one more week left to be finished?
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
There's no way. He would have had to have said, it's finished until I complete the last week.
Yeah.
Or there would have been guile found in his mouth.
Well, that's good. That's really good.
Because I remember that
You're right. You're
because
exactly
my
right.
wife, and I tell you, my wife's really good at keeping me in check. Now, I mean, boy, she's...
She probably has to be.
She has to, yes, she does.
It's survival.
Yes, I have a tendency of leading us down a path that we'd be living in a cardboard box, but I'd have a $200,000 vehicle that goes 700 mile an hour. So, yeah, she's got to keep me in line. Even at 52 years old, I still have that need for speed in me. So, but here's the thing. And I remember the night that she discovered it, we had been over here in the county joining us over here at a truck pull. And going home, good cool night, man, that turbo that I put on that truck, man, a good night like tonight when that air was real cool, boy, that thing would light. And I mean, just, man.
Duramax.
That was a sin, Rodney.
Power stroke. Oh, Lord.
That was almost as big a sin.
I'm leaving.
Oh, my goodness. Forgive him, audience. He don't know what he's saying. But I rammed down in that throttle, and that turbo lit just enough to start to pull a little bit, and all those receipts for all that money I'd spent was up above the sun visor.
Brother, I feel
And
your
out of
pain.
everybody in the world that those receipts could have fell in front of, they fell in front of my wife. And the first one she opens up is a clutch receipt.
Divine intervention.
Well, she flips through to another one, and lo and behold, another clutch receipt.
Oh, no.
Then all of a sudden, when that turbo had really lit good, that second new clutch just give way and goes to slipping. And my wife looked at me and she said, "How many clutches have you put in this truck?" Well, I couldn't lie.
No.
And so I said, "Are you counting the stock one?" And so I was going to play it off on, honey, I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you all the truth. And my wife looked at me and she said, "It was deceit, none the same." And when she said that, I realized I would have been just as well off to my partner, the other half of me, if I would have looked at her and blatantly lied and said, "No, honey, I didn't." And that verse came to me, there was not even guile found in his mouth, and I thought I'd have been just as well off to have lied. So from that perspective, the Bible says there was not even guile found.
That's
for
a
him.
powerful point.
Absolutely. For him to say, "It is finished," there's no way that the two could be the same and then be another week or the 70th week not been fulfilled, because for him to have said it's finished, it had to have been all finished right there, or that would have been deceit or guile in his mouth. Impossible.
Well, that's good. That's really good.
There's no way possible there could be another 1,000 years left.
Very, very powerful point.
Absolutely. I mean, it couldn't have been.
Yeah.
And all that came about because I tried to deceive my wife. And for what it's worth, from that point on, I didn't stop spending money on that truck. I just stopped being deceitful to my wife, and I took my punishment like a man when I spent the money, and I just bit the bullet. I really did. I felt about that tall, because when she informed me of that, I knew I'd been just as well off if I just lied to her. So, well, you don't have to agree with me, brother.
I'm agreeing with that point. I'm agreeing with your point. I've been there too.
Well, but I said all that to bring that point out, because there was no guile in him. There's no way that he could have.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%.
So
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
So, good point.
all right.
Absolutely.
And so and that's what Paul's saying here. The work was finished. He cut it short. It didn't take him long to do what he came here to do. All right, you got something?
No, you said it very well.
Now I'm rambling on too, ain't I? And as Isaiah said before, except the Lord of Sabbath had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. So what he was saying there was, this is not something that I'm going to let linger on and on and on. And for a lack of a better way of saying it, and I'm not casting stones at nobody, and I hope it don't come across that way. But for that side of the fence that says, "Oh, well, God's going to return back to the Jews and he's going to give them 1,000 years to repent." What I understand Paul's saying right here is actually a complete contradiction to that doctrine. He's saying he's going to finish the work, he's going to cut it short. He's not going to linger around forever and ever and continually say, "Oh, would you please come in? Would you come in?" You remember what Jesus said when he was standing up on the mountain? He looked down at Israel, and the Bible said that his heart was sorrowful, and he said, "Oh, Israel, Israel, how oft I would have gathered you together as a hen would her brood, but you would not."
Yeah.
That's exactly what Paul's saying right here. He's saying, and Isaiah said before, except the Lord of the Sabbath, except God had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. He said, had God not had mercy and made a short, quick work, and actually, in one spot, he says it kind of like this. He says that there would come a time, and Jesus prophesied this in Matthew 24:25, and I don't remember all the verses, but he actually ends up saying, he said, "But for the elect's sake, I'll shorten those days."
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about right here. He's saying, in order to allow that elect or that remnant to actually still get in, he shortened it or they would have been just like Sodom